Welcome back, everyone, to the Unapologetic Truth with yours truly, Tanisha Brown. Want to chop it up with you guys really quick and just be really honest. We all have things in life that we really want to do, right? Some of those things are purpose driven, some of them are not. And for me, it always takes me a little while to really get my mojo and my forward movement going. And a lot of the times, it's really sometimes not about me, but about my consistent overthinking and my consistent making up things in my mind. So better yet, a better phrase for that is a perceived challenge, right? So recently, my perceived challenges have been about what I'm doing, period, because I spend so much of my time and space keeping up with things that I perceive things to be challenges that are really not. So I challenged myself to get back to my purpose. And in saying that, what I mean is that I wrote my book close to 6 or 7 years ago. And my book was supposed to be the beginning of what I felt was God's purpose for me, and still feel that is God's purpose for me. But things didn't happen that way. For anyone who's tried something once or twice and given up, or once or twice and had to kind of readjust or realign things, that was kind of what I ended up doing, and not intentionally, but more so in a need to take care of my family, feeling like I was doing something, feeling like I had a purpose. So I allowed prisons from my own perceived challenges to hold me, to lock me in to doing something that at one point in time I enjoyed, but then became much more overwhelming than I ever imagined that it would be. So in doing those things like that, it kind of just, it's almost like my purpose, unfortunately, has been the squeaky wheel, and it's continued to squeak because I didn't give it the oil that it needed. I was busy giving oil and lots of other things to lots of other things. So in trying to finally acknowledge that my purpose was going to continue to squeak until I gave it the time and attention that it deserved, the time and attention that I deserved to have to give it, here we are. However, I've still been in this prison. I've been in this prison of being afraid to take that step now, because when I was ready, right after my book, there were things that I allowed to be said to me. There were people that I allowed to get close to me that were, I will always say, will be on my team, but didn't have the vision that I had of my purpose from God. So in that came I don't really think that a podcast is for you, or have you ever thought about, what kind of presence your voice has? And despite me already being out in the community, speaking to others, sharing my experiences and my journey in hopes of helping someone out of their mud, helping someone fight their demon, I still allowed that to manifest in my mind, and it finally reached my heart. So I stuffed all of that energy back down where I felt like it was more comfortable for everyone to be. And when I got sick, most of you have seen my first podcast. When I got sick, I really had a lot of time and space to reevaluate how you allow someone to get you off path, right? It's almost like the GPS, right? Even once you put in your destination, even once you have told your map where you want to go, other things come into play, right? You either remember that you didn't stop to get gas, or you didn't stop to properly hydrate, or you forgot something, and now you're trying to do inventory in your mind as to whether it's better to need it and not have it and not need it, than need it and not have it, correct? So my life has been one that has always showed me that either way, it's okay. If I have it and don't need it, it's because God saw fit for me to not need it, or he gave me something else. And if I have it but don't need it, the same proves true. God is going to see me through that, just as he had when he set me on my course towards my purpose. And all of the decisions, all of the failures, all of the falling down, all of the bouts of depression, all of the bouts of lack of faith took me completely off course, ran me straight into a wall at times, or a fist, but I was still okay. I still lived to fight another day. I still lived to allow God and my purpose to reroute me. And so I'm here. And there'll be days that I should have done some content, but I still have to work through my perceived challenges. We never reach a point in our life where we are perfect, where the emotions and the words flow seamlessly, okay? But bear with me as I jump on here and be exactly what I said I was going to be, and give exactly what I said I was going to give. The unapologetic truth. My unapologetic truth. So that's what I can be. That's all I can be, is be who I am. So the perceived challenge that someone is going to like me or not like me, or feel like I'm jumping on a bandwagon, or even copying something that someone did before, that is not deceitful. Let's just be quite honest right now, that everything that we have known of, everything that we know of today that exists, was a former version before we got to this point. It was a different version. Everything that we do constantly is hopefully to improve. So Honda is not making the same car they were making 10 years ago. Why? Because Honda wants to be successful. So what are they going to do? Honda is going to look at what BMW or other luxury cars are doing, and they're going to take a piece of it and they're going to make it Hondas, okay? That doesn't mean that they were being deceitful. That means that they realized that there was something better that they could take a piece of, or even more than a piece, change it up, and still be okay, and still reach their destination. So I see what that means is, at some point in time, I was sitting across the table from someone that I wanted to emulate, whether it was their strength, whether it was their ability to be vulnerable, whether it was just the way that they were able to take life easily. Because I don't think sometimes that I take life easily. So I'm trying to learn, right? Because part of being humble is understanding that you don't have it all. I'll never have it all. I'll never be perfect, but I have something to strive for. So if my sister, is sitting down next to me or sitting across the table from me, and she is doing something that I know I could improve on, whatever your marker for success for you is, if you see someone that has it more together than you, that's the whole truth behind empowerment, is that you give me something, whether you hand it to me or not, that I am able to turn around and make myself better. Because if I'm better, then I can be better for the next person, for the next journey, for the next assignment that God has given me. But we get too wrapped up in what looks too similar. We get too on edge about that. But if my sis is doing good and I want to do better, why can't I ask her? Or why can't I emulate her? Or why can't I copy a portion of the things that she displays to me, that reveals to me, that would help me on my journey? So I sit and I talk with lots of young ladies in just about every aspect. If I go to the office, there's ladies there to talk to, people there to talk to. If I stop in to get a breakfast shake or a tea, there's women in there that are empowering, looking to be empowered, and just some of them don't have it together. But we share that same journey on any given day, in any given moment. So when I see those things, I'm like, this is what makes us afraid to step out on faith. Because the minute that you do, you feel like there was 10 people, 20 people waiting to criticize you, waiting to snatch something up that you did or that you left behind. And to that I say, that's okay. It's okay, sis. If you see something that I'm doing today, whether it's the way that I cross my legs, whether it's the way that I styled my hair, whether it's the color of shirt that brought out my eyes, not really though, please, by all means, copy it, use it. There is no way that I'm going to hold you for doing that, for trying to be better. It's okay. I can't be mad at you because you saw something in me, on me, or around me that gave you life, that gave you power. I'm not even really trying to empower you if that's not okay for me. So today is just about me learning how to move in the space that God gave me a long time ago. I just didn't move on it. I wasn't there yet. I wasn't ready yet. We don't even have to be doing the same thing. But if you take what you saw me doing and use it for your own thing, more power to you. We can't allow people to hold us in prisons because we are afraid of what someone will think, right? Because that is how we have made it so far, right? We talk about trendsetters. We talk about those who paved the way for us, right? Well, how could they have paved the way if we weren't supposed to do something similar to them? If we weren't supposed to copy them? If we weren't supposed to follow in their footsteps? Why are they paving the way? They're paving the way so that you can do just that. They're paving the way with their failures and their successes in hopes that they make it and they succeed. So if I am hoping and praying for the same thing, then I'm going to allow them to pave the way, right? I wish I could give the person credit that said this, but basically someone was talking about McDonald's, right? And that I think McDonald's and Burger King are competitors, right? And basically it was something to the tune of find your McDonald's or find your whatever that puts in the work, that has put in the work, that is currently putting in the work, and use that work to shorten the length of time that you beat in the streets, that you're in and out of doors, that you're waiting to be told no, right? So I really do think we as sisters, as females, as women, as a generation, on a whole, in its entirety, have empowerment messed up. So I'm no longer going to allow that to be my prison. I'm no longer going to be concerned about how people accept, adjust to, support, comment, or criticize my purpose and my journey, right? God put it on the shelf for me, right? So anybody else who reaches on that shelf, the shelf is going to be empty because God put my name on it. So I'm not worried about you taking it. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to take the stool and hide it, right? Because on that same shelf, a little to the right, could be someone's purpose that God put their name on. And for me to rob them of the stepping stool that someone left for me to use to reach the shelf with my gift on it is not empowerment. I could not get on this podcast or any other podcast. I could not sit down in any interview and say, oh, I do women's empowerment, or I like to help the community. But the minute the community does something that I did last week, last month, or last year, take the stool and hide it. And if a stool is not there and I had to get on my knees or I had to climb up to that shelf, then I have to trust that God's going to give me whatever I need to reach that shelf. And guess what God just may give me? He may give me a sister who's a shelf higher than me, struggling to reach her shelf. And she may not just let go of everything to reach down and pull me up, but she may say to me, hey, watch step 3, it's a little shaky. Now that's my choice to take her advice, right? It's my choice to decide whether or not she is really truly giving me good advice, or if she's afraid of me also reaching the same place as her. And it's really step number 1 that's shaky and not step number 3. But in all of that, that is still empowerment, because she didn't have to look down at all to see me below her. So I have to understand that the same fears and prisons that I was either still being held in, was being held in yesterday, could be the same prisons that she's being held in. And I have to understand that. And I don't have to perceive that as her challenging me. I don't have to perceive that as her being my biggest competitor. I ain't trying to have any competitors at all, really. I used to run track, and the important component in track was that if I had a faster time and I mess around and by any chance at all, right, didn't do well in the prelims earlier in that day, now I have to run the finals in a slow heat, right? Is my time going to be better or worse? It's going to be worse. Why? Because I'm probably in a slower heat. So I'm going to be running slower. Why? Because I'm not being pressed. But if I do good in the prelims, then my finals is about to be fire, right? It's going to be lit. Why? Because there's females back here ready to press me. There's females back here just as hungry as I am, right? But at the end of the day, when we cross that finish line, no matter what order we cross that finish line in, we have to applaud one another's attempt and effort. We have to be comfortable in doing that. Because guess what? I just finished running the 100-meter dash, right? I may have came in first. I may have came in fourth. But it is highly likely that some of those females that were in that heat with me, that either blew past me or got stuck behind me, are now about to run with me on the same team in the prelims for a relay. That means that I am going to be handing the baton off to someone, and someone is likely to be handing the baton off to me. That same person that may have beat me in the 100 is now about to be my teammate. And if I didn't applaud her, if I wasn't happy that today she was the victor in this event, how can I move on to the next event and help her out? How can we help each other? She's about to be the last leg on the relay. We're about to be dependent on her. So I guess what I'm saying is that the prison door is open. I'm here to empower. I'm here to run races with my sisters. I'm here to hand the baton off. I'm here to receive the baton, but I will do so unapologetically. I will cheer for her and hope that she cheers for me. But if she does not cheer for me, I'm not going to hold her. I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep running my race. I'm going to keep reaching for my purpose. I'm going to keep climbing these shelves. And anybody who is prepared to go with me, anybody who's having some trouble getting up to the shelf that I'm on or have been on already, I got you. I don't care how we do it. I don't care if you need the shoes that I just took off to make it because somebody took your shoes. I got you. And when we all get to that place, then we will all really truly understand what empowerment means. Empowerment is not that I gotta be at the same level as you. We gotta be in the same space and place in our race, because we don't. I have had women who have stopped their race and come back to get me. How dare I not turn around and at times slow down a little bit and even stop to help someone behind me? That's what it is. That's the nature of empowerment, okay? We don't all have to go to the same school. We don't all have to go to the same engagement, the same party. We don't all have to be in the same room, because I can guarantee that anything that I have accumulated in life has not been on my own. God has placed people in my life to help me get to the next step. And they all haven't cheered for me, but they've cheered for me. Again, please visit The Unapologetic Truth